the 3rd of July. For months of frigging around, I have my axles ready to get swapped on the old axles off. So load the old truck up here.
This is Grizzly Country Outdoors.
Okay, she's loaded on the truck. We're heading to Edmonton tomorrow to ProTrack. And they're going to do an evaluation on my axles and see where we're at.
So yeah, I took those axles into the city and had them looked at, and I ended up probably wasting $4,000 trying to keep those old Spicer axles before I finally got a clue and got into these Dana 60 and 70 axles. I think the idea of disposable nuts on your axle is ridiculous. So I'm going to use these guys. I got these from Yukon Gear. So there's your pin. So this will be the inside nut. Once you tighten it, you put this guy on. Of course, this mates into where the key would fit if you were using that disposable style. And then this guy spins on and locks it in. So of course, the first thing I had to do was buy a socket for the original axle nut. Then I bought this improved, better system with the double nuts and the retaining locking ring. And of course it necessitated buying the appropriate socket for it. So I'm going to do a rear disc brake conversion using components from a 1977 Chevy 3/4 ton front end. Also, I wanted to change wheel studs to the 610-283. They're 9/16 as opposed to the original 1/2 inch. You can see the significant increase in size and strength of that. And when you put them into the rotor, they got to be a clearance fit, but then the spline mates into the hub. Milwaukee fuel impact gun, one of the best tools I ever bought.
Holy old bald-headed, look at this. The Milwaukee fuel. I've been playing around. I got this MAP gas torch here, heated this up, and I was trying this Campbell Haasfeld impact. Every time I'd run it for so long, the air would deplete on the thing. So I thought, well, and the air had run down yet again. So I thought, well, I'm going to give the Milwaukee a shot. And it broke it out. That's friggin' beautiful.
And I literally spent a day and a half frigging around with the pneumatic impact, the breaker bar, propane torch, all that stuff before I finally got MAP gas and then this Milwaukee fuel impact on there. And it busted that thing out like nothing.
Wow. That is big progress. You got number 2 out also. There's a big prop for the old Milwaukee fuel, let me tell you.
She's 2 thumbs up for that Milwaukee fuel, and I don't use the pneumatic impact much anymore.
That looks a little different, eh? Get rid of the old frame.
Yeah, sad to see it go for next to nothing, but it had to go for the project to advance. And then I spent half a day here just removing some loose components off the truck. Drive shaft, shifting linkages for the transfer case, brackets for the fuel tank, the old exhaust pipe. And then I set all the stuff out, labeled it all up so I'd remember what the heck it was and where it went more specifically. The running boards. What else? There's the exhaust pipe laying on the back. And brackets for the running boards. Then in order to do some my seals, I had to put speedy sleeves on. These are the spindles for the rear axles. As you can see, they were scored up pretty good. So I'm going to put speedy sleeves on these.
Okay, I'm going to put speedy sleeves on here because that surface is so... Anyway, I needed a gizmo to drive these on. So I made a little tool here. It's got a piece of ABS pipe and pipe cap. Then I cut 4 slots in it, and I've got this clamp on here. So now I can put my speedy sleeve in there. I should be able to just take and tighten this on here. Just go right till that's tight. Okay, well that's pretty cool. With that clamp tightened up, each of these slots I cut are closed up. And this guy just fits in there. No play in it at all. It's going to work pretty slick, I think. I used this on the front spindle speedy sleeves as well. Drifted these guys on. Okay, so once the speedy sleeve is on, the flange has to come off. So this area that this distance here, this gap, once this flange is off, I should be able to drift this on the rest of the way and take up all of that. Okay, so I peeled the flange off here and off here. There we are. So now I have to figure out how to drift that in the rest of the way. And that's what they look like. And I just used a brass hammer and very, very gently and carefully went around and just tapped it in. They fit on nicely. The other thing I did today, speedy sleeve, where these axle seals are. I got those put on. Of course, those are the front axle sealing areas, and I just used a piece of PVC. I built a very similar tool to what I used on the rear axle. Front spindles also needed speedy sleeves. And I put speedy sleeves on my front axle spindles. One day it was pouring rain, so I took a time out and put in new bolts in the base of the old vise. That's a job I should have done a long time ago. Now she'll pivot around. I can tighten up just with a 3/4 wrench, real quick, in the position I need. Frickin' beautiful. Long overdue. I assembled the rear axle first, of course, because it was far simpler to do than the front axle with kingpins and all that stuff. That would be your driver's side knuckle, cleaned up, painted up. I'll show you a little trick I figured out for putting that top cap on the kingpin, using 2 big sockets and 2 bolts to pull it together. Kingpin coming together here, and I can only do one. You wouldn't believe it, but some damn fool threw out the old springs and the retainer that is necessary for the spring. You can guess who the damn fool is. Anyway, on account of it, I can only do one side. I've seen videos where people used clamps to bring this together, and I tried that. Like, forget about it. So a longer bolt with a spacer, which is sockets, drew that down no problem. But the bolts I had, I bought new bolts, and the damn bolts I bought are too short. There's an explanation for that, but I don't even want to get into it. This, there was a lift kit in this old truck. I guess I should explain it. There was a lift kit in this old truck, so there was a spacer block yay high. Okay? And these longer bolts were part of that kit for that big spacer block, and that was all part of the lift kit. Well, now I don't need them anymore, but fortunate that I've got them, because they helped me assemble this. Now, what I got to do here now is I just went up to Fastenal and got some longer bolts. Okay, I got 2-inch bolts in here, and these guys are going to fit. They're going to work just fine. Okay, one side put together. Yeah, sucking it down with those longer bolts through those sockets was far easier than attempting to muscle that spring using a stupid clamp. And that's what she looks like put together. Be very careful when you're ordering parts with AI involvement. AI screwed me up on part orders several times. This is the correct needle bearing for your front spindle that your axle rides in. Check out my tool I got for pressing the bearing in. A 1-inch pipe coupling with the plug. It's the only thing I could find that was the right dimension. And then I used my shop press to press the bearing in rather than hammer it. You don't want to loosen up and knock out any of those little needle bearings. That's the seal that goes in there to protect the axle shaft on that little needle bearing, and the numbers go in. It has to face out this way. Well, that's been a long time coming. I finally got my kingpins, knuckles, axles, starting to get my brake assemblies on. Might be a waste of time, but I threw a quick coat of paint on those brake caliper brackets, and I haven't fully torqued these nuts. I'm gonna let that dry, and tomorrow I can finally put my hubs on. Once I put the hubs on, then I got to rebuild the manual hubs. Still got to do that job. All right, both front hubs are installed. For the record, spindle nuts torqued to 55, inner bearing torqued to 50, then backed off, retorqued to approximately 40, and then backed off in order to until I found that locking retainer ring and aligned with the pin on that inner nut. Then I torqued the outer to 160 foot-pounds. Same story on this guy. Now I got to put together the manual hubs. I'll show you this here. Oh baby, I bought brand new lock and hub kit. Those are sexy. I gotta put that together. So I think before I do that, I kind of go make myself a coffee. I deserve a coffee, I think. Okay, now the proof's in the pudding, right? Got to test function these guys. I just want to explain something quickly here. When I first put this together, I followed the instructions of a YouTube video in which the guy just packed that hub full of grease. And so I did. Lock position. You know, I followed the advice I'd seen, and when I did it, my hubs didn't want to engage and disengage properly because of so much grease. And I thought about it, and I realized, well, what the hell do you need all this grease in here? Especially when it's 20 below, 40 below. That grease is not going to let those hubs function at all. So I took them apart, cleaned them out, and put them back together, and now they work perfect. Okay. Now this was the thing. When I had all the grease in, and I disengaged it, the inner spring is a weaker spring, and I think it couldn't push against all that grease. So they didn't want to disengage. There we are. That's disengaged for sure. Disengaged. So I'm going to call that good now. I guess the next thing for these axles is to get them mounted on this old Dodge here. Beautiful. Okay. I finished getting the truck loaded. Now my plan is to put those axles on those pallets in under there, but just like it's been doing for the last friggin' month, it's raining again. So I'm not going to figure around with it in the rain. I'll get to it later. Okay, so we're all loaded up, ready to go on my way to Buddy's. There's a beautiful brand new tie rod ends that I put on the steering linkage. As you can see, we got the perches re-welded on the new Dana 70 axle. There's my beautiful Steelies mounted up. And that's after we had that rear axle swapped out. She's sitting there on that new axle, man. Those tires look cool, in my opinion anyway. You can see here there's no rear caliper because I'm missing the caliper mounting brackets. That's another story, but I'm going to have to fab up those brackets. Or probably get somebody smarter than me to help me. Here we're ready to pull the old 318 engine out finally, and this was a piece of work, let me tell you. The cross member that sits between the bell housing and the transmission, holy old bald headed, was it something to get out. But there she is, pulled out. And now back on the trailer and in my driveway. That's a beautiful thing, man. That's the project to July 12, 2026. That's where we stand.